Wabash hydraulic press model 25-15-2 TMB, serial number 4010. It is powered by 208 volts AC, 3-phase. It can develop 25 tons of pressure. I've written a very simple, easy to follow, step-by-step instruction on how to use the press and how to use its different features. What I'm going to do in our demonstration is step through this one by one so you can see how to use the press in two different modes. First, the press is turned on by a customer supplied disconnect. You would then turn on the hydraulic power, then the heaters. Now this is where we're going to stop here. You notice the heaters didn't go on. The heaters have an independent control, and because they don't, and very often the machine is left powered 24 hours a day, but because they don't want the heaters on all the time, they've installed a 7-day timer on the back. Let me bring you back here and show you this. This 7-day timer allows the system to be set to the timer so it can turn it on and it will turn it off as it rotates. However, if you don't want to use the timer, there's a 7-day timer bypass switch here that once you throw it will allow the heaters to turn on. Now, there are two different operating modes. The first one is the maximum pressure operation. When the shutoff valve is turned fully clockwise, the hydraulic output delivers maximum pressure to the press, and when the shutoff valve is fully clockwise, the pressure adjustment valve is disabled. Now what that means is when you have the valves in this position, it will allow the press or allow the hydraulic system to give full power to the press, which normally pegs out somewhere around 25 tons. The other mode is the adjustable pressure operation. When the shutoff valve is turned at least one turn counterclockwise rotation, one full turn like that, it then will enable this adjustment valve. An example of that is when you adjust that valve, you can then take the maximum pressure and you can set it anywhere from between 5 tons to 25 tons. The third and important thing is the working pressure. Working pressure is the pressure that the operator wants to apply to the workpiece once the pressure is in the closed position. The pressure can be adjusted by turning the working pressure dial counterclockwise to increase and clockwise to decrease. That would be this dial here. Because this dial is also not only electrical but also has a pressure diaphragm in it, it's sort of strange, but yes, to increase you would go counterclockwise and to decrease you go clockwise. Now, to actually operate, I have 2 pages here. The first one is for the maximum pressure operation. As you can see, we've turned on the main power. We've turned on the hydraulic power. We've turned on the temperature controllers. It's very easy to raise and lower the temperature on here for your temperature set point. We've placed our tooling in there for now. Now, to raise and lower the press, both buttons must be pushed simultaneously. It's up to our preset pressure of 22.5 tons. Now, also, as we mentioned in the instructions, there is a 30-minute timer that you set to your desired cycle time. It goes up to 30 minutes, but in my experience, most practical applications are within a few minutes, whether that be just something heated up or whether it actually be a part that is being molded. Now, when that timer times out, I'm going to do it here. Normally it'll count way down, but when that timer times out, it'll automatically allow the press to come down all the way and stop at its lower position. Now, one thing to remember about this timer, if you ever do what I just did, and then you go to try to run it again, hey, what's wrong with the machine? There always must be some kind of time left on the timer in order for it to operate. Now also, you can allow of course the timer to time out and lower it, or at any time you can push the red button and partially lower it. You can lower it in stages, or you can lower it all the way. Now, what we're going to do next is we're going to adjust the working pressure. Again, the working pressure is the actual pressure that you want applied to your workpiece. What I'm going to do now is, let's say I just give this a couple of spins. This is definitely setup time. There'll be a little bit of trial and error, or you can mark it where you want so you can get the exact amount. Here, I've lowered this down a little bit, and let's see what happens. Aha. Now, that means regardless of whatever adjustments we make right now, we have, even though we still have almost 25 tons available, we have the maximum pressure set, working pressure set for here is about 12.5. If we want to increase that, for example, and we turn counterclockwise, it'll increase. Now the reason it does that is if you had a very long cycle time, there is some degrading in the hydraulic pressure. It will leak back a little bit naturally. But this is set though, if you lose any more than one increment up here, it will jog the hydraulic pump so it keeps a constant preset pressure. Example. And as you can see, we can creep our way back up. So you can pretty much set it wherever you want. And then as you go up and down, it'll return to that spot each time. Here, let's see how far we can go. And we're going, that's it, we've hit our maximum. There we go. Now, I'll lower this down. And I have this all the way up. Now, not used as much, but the other mode that we discussed was the adjustable pressure operation, where you do use these two valves. There is a very clear instruction. That's the maximum pressure operation. And now we will move on to the adjustable pressure operation. It's almost identical except for the use of these valves. And what that allows you to do is change the maximum pressure before you set your working pressure. So if you didn't want this to go all the way up to 25 tons, you could define in there that, no, I want to only go to 15 tons. Not your working pressure, but the maximum pressure that will be allowed to the press. So, as per the instructions, all you have to do is open this valve. One turn will just about do it. Now, we still have this one closed. And if we operate it, leaving this, we know that this one will go up to maximum right now. Now, let's give this, it's a little tight. We're going to give this one turn. I've got a little mark on here. You'll get used to it, or you can make yourself a little decal for when you set this up in your own production. But here, I'm going to just give it one turn for now and see what happens. Let's lower the press. Okay. Now, with the shutoff valve opened up, try that again. Aha. As you can see, it's now at 10. Let's give one turn back the other way again, clockwise. Let's give it the full 2 turns. Now, and I'm going to make this 1 turn, 2 turns, 3 turns. Now, gone too far. I'm trying to push it all the way so you can see that you should have a range of between 5 tons and 25 tons. Let me try 2.5 turns down. We're getting down there. That's about almost 8. There's 3 turns. I think that's about as low as we can go. We'll try one more. We'll give it one more half turn, because if you turn it too much, you'll run out of the range. It won't hurt anything, but it just won't move past 5. Let's see if I got that. That's about it. And of course, if we were to turn it all the way back up again, we should be able to pretty much return to where we were. And we'll close our main valve once again. And of course, in that position, you can then regulate the working pressure up and down as you need it as well. So if you follow the instructions and you do this just a couple of times, this is a very, very simple system to operate. Again, depending on your tooling and your workpiece, you have independent control of the cycle time. You can set your temperatures any way you want, and you can set your working pressure for, let's say, what is required. Once again, it's fairly safe. Note though that this is 208 volts, 3-phase. It is dangerous electricity, so nobody should be inside this panel who isn't properly trained. Also note that while there isn't any exposed mechanical moving parts in the back of the hydraulic system, you should still take care to not monkey around back here too much. There's some valves that are set a particular way that should not be adjusted, and it is fairly clean. I personally changed the oil in here and everything is very clean. We have no leaks anywhere. And we'll run it up one more time. Make sure you push both buttons in firmly. Sometimes there's a little bounce on this one. They're brand new buttons, but it should work okay. And this completes this demonstration.